magazine slipped from Maya's hands, pages scattering across the marble floor like fallen leaves. Her breath caught, her vision tunneled. The world was reduced to a single photograph. Daniel Crawford, her ex-boyfriend, the man who sold her to human traffickers, smiling in an expensive suit, promoted, successful, living his best life while she'd spent months clawing her way back from hell. Maya! Ji-hoon's voice came from somewhere far away. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The walls of their Seoul mansion pressed in, but all she could see was that apartment in London. The betrayal, the hands grabbing her, Daniel turning away. "He's happy," she whispered, voice breaking. "He destroyed my life and he's happy." Ji-hoon knelt beside her, his hand cupping her face, forcing her to meet his dark, dangerous eyes. "Say the word, one word, and he disappears tonight." Maya's hands trembled as she picked up the magazine, staring at Daniel's smug face. Something cold and hard crystallized in her chest, replacing the panic with purpose. "No," she said quietly. "I don't want him dead. I want him to suffer. I want him to feel everything he made me feel. Every single thing." Ji-hoon's lips curved into a rare, predatory smile. "Then let's make him pay." 6 months ago, Maya was sold for £200,000. Today, she's worth millions. And she's about to teach Daniel Crawford that karma doesn't forget. It just takes its time. This is the story of how a victim became a queen, and how the queen destroyed the man who tried to break her. Before we dive in, if you're new to Soul Tales, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our mind-blowing stories. And comment below what time it is where you're watching from. Let's see how global our family is. Also, if you haven't watched part 1, go check that out first so you understand how we got here. Now, let's watch Maya burn Daniel's world to the ground. 6 months had passed since Maya Richards became Maya Kong. 6 months since the terrified woman dragged into a Seoul nightclub transformed into the confident wife of Korea's most powerful mafia heir. 6 months of healing, learning, and building a life she never imagined possible. The morning started like any other. Maya sat at the breakfast table in their mansion, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. She was fluent in Korean now, her curly hair styled elegantly, wearing a designer dress that cost more than her old monthly salary in London. Ji-hoon sat across from her, reading business reports on his tablet, occasionally glancing up with those intense dark eyes that still made her heart skip. "Mrs. Choi made your favorite," he said, pushing a plate of perfectly prepared bibimbap toward her. "She's convinced you're too thin." Maya laughed, the sound easy and genuine. "Mrs. Choi thinks everyone is too thin." She picked up her chopsticks with practiced ease. No more struggling like those first awkward weeks. "What's your schedule today?" "Meetings until 3, then I'm yours." Ji-hoon reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. "I thought we could visit that art gallery Ji-woo keeps talking about. Unless you have other plans?" "Actually, I have a video call with the charity board about the new women's shelter project," Maya said, her eyes lighting up with passion. She'd thrown herself into charity work, particularly organizations that helped trafficking survivors. It gave her purpose, a way to transform her pain into something meaningful. "But I should be done by 4. Ji-hoon's expression softened in that way it only did for her. The cold, ruthless mafia boss becoming simply her husband. "I'm proud of you. You know that, right?" Before Maya could respond, Ji-woo burst into the dining room, her long black hair flying, clutching her tablet with barely contained excitement. At 22, Ji-hoon's younger sister had become one of Maya's closest friends, a brilliant tech genius with a bubbly personality that balanced Ji-hoon's intensity. "Maya, you have to see this." Ji-woo thrust the tablet forward, her dark eyes wide. "I was just browsing British business news for my international economics class, and..." Maya took the tablet, expecting some interesting article about market trends or corporate mergers. Instead, her world stopped. Rising star. Daniel Crawford promoted to senior vice president at Ashford Investment Group. The photograph punched the air from her lungs. Daniel. Her Daniel. No, Not hers, never truly hers. Standing in front of a luxury office building, arms crossed, confident smile, expensive tailored suit. The same man who'd sold her for £200,000 to pay his debts. The same man who'd watched her dragged away screaming and done nothing. The article gushed about his exceptional leadership, his dedication to excellence, his bright future in the industry. Quotes from colleagues praised his integrity, his work ethic, his vision. Integrity. The word mocked her. Maya. Jiwoo's voice trembled with concern. I'm sorry, I didn't think. I just saw his name and thought you should know, but maybe I shouldn't have. The tablet slipped from Maya's hands, clattering against the marble floor. The sound echoed through the suddenly silent room. Images flashed through her mind like a horror film on repeat. The anniversary night. His cold eyes. Madame Seoul's predatory smile. The hands grabbing her. The pain. The fear. The betrayal so complete it had shattered her understanding of reality. And he was promoted. Happy. Successful. Praised. Maya. Jihoon's voice cut through her spiral, firm and grounding. He was beside her in an instant, his hands on her shoulders, forcing her to focus on him instead of the screaming in her head. Breathe. You're safe. You're here with me. But she couldn't breathe. Her chest constricted. Tears she'd thought she was done crying burned behind her eyes. It's not fair, she choked out. He destroyed me. He sold me like I was nothing. And he's living his best life. No consequences. No justice. Nothing. Jihoon's jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. His dark eyes went from concerned to deadly in a heartbeat. Give me 24 hours. He'll disappear. No trace. No evidence. Just gone. Maya knew he meant it. Jihoon could make Daniel Crawford vanish from the face of the earth with a single phone call. No one would ever find the body. It would be clean, efficient, and final. But that wasn't enough. No, Maya whispered, wiping her eyes roughly. No, I don't want him dead. Jihoon's eyebrows rose slightly. Maya, death is too easy, she said, her voice gaining strength. She stood, pacing the length of the dining room, her mind already working. 6 months with Jihoon had taught her strategy, patience, how to think like someone who played the long game. He sold me and walked away without a second thought. If you kill him, he dies quickly. He doesn't suffer. He doesn't feel what I felt. She turned to face her husband, and Jihoon actually took a step back at the cold fury in her eyes. I want him to feel betrayed, helpless, terrified. I want him to lose everything he values. I want him to really know what he did to me. And then, when he's broken and desperate and has nothing left, I want him to see my face and realize that I'm the one who destroyed him. A slow, dangerous smile spread across Jihoon's face. My queen wants revenge. Not revenge, Maya corrected. Justice. Jiwoo, who'd been watching wide-eyed from the doorway, cleared her throat. Should I leave you two to plot whatever terrifying thing you're about to do, or? No, Maya said firmly. I need you. Your hacking skills, your tech expertise. Can you dig into Daniel's life? Everything. Bank accounts, social media, work records, dating history, everything. Jiwoo grinned, fingers already flying across her tablet. Oh, this is the most interesting homework assignment I've ever had. Give me 4 hours. 2 hours, Jihoon interjected. I'll call Minjun. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. He pulled out his phone, already making calls to his most trusted associates. Maya picked up the magazine from the floor, staring at Daniel's photograph. Her hands no longer trembled. The panic had crystallized into something sharper, colder, more focused. You sold me for money, she whispered to the image. I'm going to cost you everything. 2 hours later, they gathered in Jihoon's private office, a room Maya rarely entered, where he conducted the darker aspects of his business. Jiwoo's laptop was connected to multiple monitors, data streaming across screens. Minjun, Jihoon's right-hand man, stood at attention with files in hand. Tell me everything, Maya commanded, and was surprised by how naturally authority fit her now. Jiwoo pulled up the first file. Daniel Crawford, 29, currently Senior VP at Ashford Investment Group in London. Annual salary £180,000, plus bonuses. Lives in a luxury flat in Kensington. How does he afford Kensington on that salary? Maya asked immediately, her corporate strategist instincts kicking in. He doesn't, Minjun replied, opening a financial report. He's £340,000 in debt. Credit cards maxed out. 2 personal loans. And, he paused dramatically. He's engaged. Maya's blood ran cold. What? Jiwoo pulled up a social media profile. A beautiful young woman with blonde hair and a bright smile. Emma Parker, 26, investment banker. And here's the interesting part. She has a trust fund worth £2.5 million that she gains full access to when she turns 27, which is in 3 months. The room went silent as the implications sank in. He's doing it again, Maya breathed. He's not just a monster. He's a serial predator. There's more, Jiwoo said quietly, pulling up older files. I dug deeper into his past relationships. 2019. Sarah Chun, sold to a trafficking ring, escaped but committed suicide 6 months later. 2020. Rebecca Walsh, sold to traffickers, still listed as missing. 2021. Olivia Martinez, sold but managed to escape, currently living under a different identity in Scotland. Maya sat down heavily, the air rushing from her lungs. I wasn't special. I was just next in line. Jihoon crouched in front of her, taking her hands in his. You are special. But he's a monster who's been getting away with this for years. For women that we know of, Minjun added. Could be more we haven't found yet. Maya looked up at Jihoon, and he saw the shift in her eyes. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was bigger. If I don't stop him, she said slowly, Emma will be next. And after Emma, there'll be another. And another. He won't stop until someone makes him stop. So we make him stop, Jihoon said firmly. What's the plan? Maya stood, walking to the wall of monitors, studying Daniel's face, his life, his patterns. Her mind raced through possibilities, strategies, approaches. She'd spent years navigating corporate warfare, hostile negotiations, strategic takedowns. This was just another kind of boardroom battle. We do this in 3 phases, she said, her voice steady and cold. Phase 1, we save Emma. I won't let another woman suffer because of him. Phase 2, we destroy everything he values, his job, his money, his reputation. Phase 3, we make him face what he's done, and we make sure he pays legally. I want him in prison, not dead. Death is too kind for him. And if he runs? Minjun asked. Maya's smile was sharp as a blade. He won't get far. Jihoon stood beside her, his arm sliding around her waist. When do we start? Tomorrow, Maya decided. We're going to London. London felt different. Maya stepped out of Heathrow Airport into the grey morning drizzle. And for a moment, she was that terrified woman again. The one who'd been drugged and dragged onto a plane against her 6 months ago. But then Jihoon's hand found hers, solid and grounding, and she remembered. She wasn't that woman anymore. You okay? He murmured, his dark eyes searching her face. I will be, Maya replied. Once we finish this. They checked into the Dorchester under assumed names, Mr. and Mrs. Park, wealthy Korean investors looking into London real estate. Jihoon's reputation and money opened doors even under false identities. Their suite overlooked Hyde Park, a far cry from the modest flat Maya used to share with Daniel. The irony wasn't lost on her. Phase 1 starts today, Maya announced, staring at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. She barely recognized herself. Her natural curly hair was temporarily straightened and dyed a rich chestnut brown. Color contacts changed her warm brown eyes to hazel. High-end makeup subtly altered her features. She looked like someone else entirely, which was exactly the point. She couldn't risk Daniel recognizing her. Not yet. Jihoon appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame with his arms crossed. You look beautiful, even in disguise. I look like a stranger, Maya said. Good, Ji-hoon replied. Strangers don't raise alarms. Min-jun had already tracked Emma Parker's routines. She went to the same coffee shop every morning before work, a trendy place in Canary Wharf, 5 minutes from her office. Predictable. Perfect. Maya arrived at the cafe at 7:45 a.m., ordered an overpriced latte, and settled at a corner table with her laptop. She wore a tailored business suit, designer but understated, her entire appearance screaming, successful professional woman. At 8:07 a.m., like clockwork, Emma Parker walked in. She was lovely in person. Blonde hair in a sleek ponytail, kind blue eyes, a warm smile for the barista. She wore a simple dress and carried a leather portfolio. Everything about her radiated capability and confidence. Just like Maya used to be. Maya watched Emma order her usual oat milk cappuccino, no sugar, and deliberately bumped into her as she turned from the counter. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Maya gasped, steadying Emma's cup before it could spill. I wasn't watching where I was going. No, it's fine, Emma said with a genuine smile. No harm done. Still, let me buy you another one, Maya insisted. Please, I feel terrible. Really, it's okay, Emma laughed. But thank you. At least let me buy you a pastry to make up for it, Maya pressed, flashing a friendly smile. I'm new to London, and I could use the company if you're not in a rush. Emma hesitated, checking her watch, then shrugged. You know what? Why not? I have 15 minutes before I need to be at the office. They sat together, and Maya learned quickly that Emma was exactly the kind of person who attracted predators. Trusting, kind, genuinely good. She worked in sustainable investments, cared about making positive change, volunteered at animal shelters. She talked animatedly about her job, her passions, her life. And inevitably she mentioned Daniel. My fiancé works in investments too, Emma said, showing Maya a photo on her phone. That's him, Daniel Crawford. We're getting married in December. Maya's stomach lurched, but she kept her expression neutral. He's handsome. How did you meet? Mutual friends at a charity gala, Emma said, her eyes softening. He swept me off my feet. Flowers, romantic dinners, long conversations about changing the world. I know it sounds cheesy, but he just got me. You know? Maya knew. She remembered feeling exactly the same way. That's wonderful, she said, injecting warmth into her voice. You seem very happy. I am, Emma confirmed. Though, she paused, then laughed self-consciously. Sorry, I shouldn't unload on a stranger. Sometimes strangers are the easiest to talk to, Maya encouraged gently. What's wrong? Emma bit her lip. It's silly, but lately, Daniel's been asking a lot about my finances. My trust fund, specifically. I know we're getting married, so it makes sense to discuss money, but something about it feels off. Maya's heart rate picked up, but she kept her voice casual. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it usually is. That's what my friend Sarah keeps saying, Emma admitted. But I love him. I want to trust him. Love and trust aren't the same thing, Maya said carefully. Has he been honest about his own finances? I'm not sure, Emma said slowly. He says he's doing well, but he never wants to talk about specifics. Says it's boring. Maya leaned forward slightly. Emma, I don't know you, and I don't know your fiancé, but as someone who works in business, I can tell you, financial secrecy is a red flag. Especially when someone's very interested in your money but secretive about their own. Emma went quiet, staring into her coffee. Maya could see the wheels turning, doubts taking root. I'm probably just being paranoid, Emma finally said, but she didn't sound convinced. Better paranoid than sorry, Maya replied gently. Look, this might be completely inappropriate, but have you considered hiring a private investigator? Just for peace of mind before the wedding. Emma's eyes widened. That feels like a huge betrayal of trust. Is it a betrayal if you find out he's been honest all along? Maya countered. Then you'll know for sure, and you can get married with confidence. But if something is wrong, she trailed off meaningfully. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya ran into Emma 6 more times. Always coincidentally. Always at the cafe. They became coffee friends, then lunch friends. Emma started confiding more, and Maya carefully, subtly planted seeds of doubt. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon's team executed Phase 2. Min-joon created a sophisticated investment opportunity. A cryptocurrency startup focused on sustainable technology. On paper, it looked legitimate, backed by real investors with impressive projected returns. The kind of opportunity that would make any investment professional salivate. Through carefully orchestrated channels, the opportunity reached Daniel. A colleague mentioned it. An industry newsletter featured it. An old university friend reached out about it. Ji-woo monitored Daniel's digital footprint. "He's researching it," she reported over video call. "Spent 3 hours last night reading every document." "He's interested," Maya said with satisfaction. "More than interested," Ji-woo grinned. "He just requested a private meeting with the investment team." The meeting happened in a luxury office space Min-joon had rented for exactly this purpose. Daniel arrived in his expensive suit, exuding confidence, and sat across from 2 of Ji-hoon's associates posing as investment managers. Maya watched via hidden camera from the hotel suite, her hands clenched into fists. "This is an exclusive opportunity," one of the managers explained. "We're only taking investments from select individuals. Minimum buy-in is £500,000. "That's a substantial amount," Daniel said, but Maya could see the greed in his eyes. "For substantial returns," the other manager replied smoothly. "We're projecting 300% return within 6 months. Of course, we understand if it's outside your range." No, Daniel said quickly, not wanting to appear unable to afford it. "I can manage that." Liar, Maya thought. He couldn't manage it. He'd have to steal it. Over the following week, Emma finally hired the private investigator Maya had subtly recommended. Actually one of Ji-hoon's men. The report came back devastating. Daniel was £340,000 in debt, had accessed Emma's trust fund through forged authorization, illegal, had embezzled funds from his company, and had a history of financial fraud. Emma called Maya, voice shaking. "You were right. God, you were so right." They met at the cafe, and Emma showed her the report with trembling hands. Maya read it, letting appropriate shock and sympathy show on her face. "I'm so sorry, Emma," she said quietly. "I feel like such an idiot," Emma whispered, tears streaming down her face. "How did I not see this?" "Because predators are good at hiding," Maya replied, taking Emma's hand. "This isn't your fault. He's the one who lied and manipulated." "What do I do?" Emma asked desperately. "You protect yourself," Maya said firmly. "Freeze your accounts. Change all your passwords. Tell your bank about the forged authorizations. And confront him." "I'm scared," Emma admitted. "I know," Maya said. "But you're stronger than you think. And you're not alone." That evening, Emma confronted Daniel in his flat. Ji-woo had planted listening devices, so Maya heard everything. "What is this?" Emma demanded, throwing the PI report at him. "Where did you get that?" Daniel's voice went cold. "You had me investigated? You don't trust me? You stole from me," Emma shouted. "You forged my signature. You're in massive debt and you lied about everything. I can explain." "No," Emma cut him off. "I'm done listening to your lies. We're over. And I'm reporting the fraud to the authorities." "Emma, wait." "Get out," Emma said. "This is my apartment. Get out now or I'm calling the police." There was silence, then the sound of Daniel leaving, slamming the door behind him. Maya listened to Emma's sobbing through the audio feed, her heart aching. She knew exactly how that pain felt. But she also knew Emma would survive this because she'd helped make sure of it. "Phase 1 complete," Ji-hoon said, appearing beside Maya with a glass of wine. "You saved her." "One down," Maya replied. "Now we destroy him." Because while Daniel was reeling from Emma dumping him, he'd also just invested £850,000 in Ji-hoon's fake cryptocurrency company. £500,000 embezzled from his employer, £200,000 stolen from Emma's trust fund, and £150,000 borrowed from loan sharks at predatory interest rates. Money that would disappear in exactly 2 weeks, along with the entire company. And that was when Daniel Crawford's world would truly start burning. Daniel Crawford's world began to crumble on a Tuesday morning at 9:47 a.m. He was sitting in his office at Ashford Investment Group, reviewing quarterly reports and trying to shake the uneasy feeling that had plagued him since Emma walked out 3 days ago. She'd blocked his number, refused to answer his emails, and according to mutual friends, she'd filed a police report about the trust fund theft. But Daniel wasn't worried. Not really. He'd covered his tracks before. He always did. And besides, once his cryptocurrency investment paid out in a few months, he'd have more than enough money to pay back what he'd borrowed, plus interest. Everything would be fine. Then his desk phone rang. "Mr. Crawford, could you come to conference room A, please?" His boss's assistant. Her voice was clipped, professional, cold. "Sure, when?" "Now, please." The walk to the conference room felt like a death march. 3 senior partners sat waiting, along with someone from HR and a woman Daniel didn't recognize holding a briefcase. "Mr. Crawford, please sit," his boss, Richard Ashford, said without preamble. "This is Miranda Chun from our internal compliance and audit department." Daniel's palms began to sweat. Miranda opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick file. "Mr. Crawford, we've received an anonymous tip regarding financial irregularities in your departmental accounts. Upon investigation, we've discovered £500,000 missing from the Hartwell pension fund that you manage." The room tilted. I don't know what you're talking about. Bank transfers made from your computer, using your login credentials, between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. over the past 2 weeks. Miranda continued, her voice flat and emotionless. The money was moved to an offshore account, then to a cryptocurrency investment firm. "Would you like to explain?" Daniel's mind raced. How did they know? He'd been so careful. He'd covered his tracks, used VPN, encrypted everything. What he didn't know was that Jiwoo had anonymously tipped off the company with just enough information to start an investigation, then help them find the rest. "This is a misunderstanding," Daniel stammered. Someone must have hacked my account. We also have security footage of you in the office at those times," Richard Ashford said coldly. "And your keycard access records match the login times perfectly. You're suspended effective immediately," the HR representative announced. "Without pay. We're conducting a full investigation, and we'll be turning over our findings to the police. We'll need your keycard, your laptop, and your phone." "You can't." "We can, and we are," Richard said, standing. "Security will escort you out. Don't come back to this building. You'll be hearing from our lawyers." 2 security guards appeared as if summoned. Daniel was walked out of the building in front of all his colleagues, carrying a cardboard box with his few personal items, his face burning with humiliation. Maya watched from across the street, hidden behind dark sunglasses and a scarf. She felt no satisfaction, just cold determination. "Phase 2, Part 1, she said into her phone. Jihoon was back at the hotel. "Good." His voice came through her earpiece. "Part 2 begins tonight." That night, Daniel returned to his Kensington flat to find an eviction notice taped to his door. He was 3 months behind on rent, money he'd been spending to maintain his lifestyle and impress Emma. The landlord wanted him out within 30 days. Inside, he found more bad news in his mailbox. Credit card companies demanding payment. Loan sharks sending increasingly threatening messages. His bank had frozen his accounts pending investigation of the suspicious transfers. He had £247 in cash and no access to any other funds. Daniel poured himself a scotch with shaking hands. This was fine. This was temporary. Once the cryptocurrency investment matured, he'd have millions. He just had to wait it out. He tried to log into the investment platform to check his account. Error. This website cannot be reached. Daniel tried again. Same error. He called the number from his investment documents. "The number you have dialed is not in service." Ice flooded his veins. He searched for the company online. Nothing. No website. No news articles. No social media. It was like quantum sustainable investments had never existed. No, Daniel whispered, frantically clicking through page after page of search results. No, 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 this can't. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Looking for your money? It's gone. All £850,000. You've been played. Daniel's scotch glass slipped from his hand, shattering against the hardwood floor. Another text. How does it feel to lose everything? His hands shook violently as he typed back, Who is this? The response came immediately. Someone you should have treated better. Over the next 2 weeks, Daniel's life became a nightmare. The company formally charged him with embezzlement. The police opened a criminal investigation. Emma's lawyers filed civil charges for the trust fund theft. Loan sharks began showing up at his flat, demanding repayment with interest that had ballooned to £200,000. He had to move out of his luxury apartment into a dingy studio in Brixton. His car was repossessed. His friends stopped returning his calls. No one wanted to be associated with a suspected criminal. And then the packages started arriving. The first one contained a bottle of champagne and a bouquet of roses, the exact type Maya used to bring him. No card. No explanation. The second package had photographs. Pictures of Daniel himself, taken from outside his flat, from the street, from the cafe where he ate lunch. Someone was watching him. The third package contained a single sentence on expensive cardstock. Remember your anniversary? Daniel began seeing her everywhere. A woman with curly black hair in the crowd. A flash of warm brown skin. He'd spin around, heart racing, but there was never anyone there. He was being haunted. But by whom? Emma had moved on, posting on social media about healing and self-worth. She'd started a support group for financial abuse victims. She'd recovered most of her stolen money through legal channels. She was fine, which meant someone else was doing this. Late one night, drunk and desperate, Daniel's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Who is this? What do you want from me? Daniel Crawford? A woman's voice, professional and cold. Yes, who? My name is Olivia Martinez. Does that name mean anything to you? Daniel's blood froze. I see it does, Olivia continued. You sold me to traffickers in 2021. I escaped. Barely. I've been in hiding ever since. Too scared to come forward. But I'm not scared anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. Just like you know about Rebecca Walsh, and Sarah Chin, and Maya Richards. Maya. The name hit him like a physical blow. Maya's dead, Daniel whispered. Is she? Olivia's voice was soft, almost pitying. Are you sure about that, Daniel? Because I'm not dead, and I'm testifying against you. So is Emma Parker. And so is someone else you thought you'd never see again. The call disconnected. Daniel sat in his dark studio apartment, surrounded by overdue bills and threatening letters. And for the first time, real fear gripped him. What if Maya wasn't dead? What if she'd survived? What if she was coming for him? He looked around his pathetic studio, at the life he'd built on lies and blood money, and realized with sick certainty that everything falling apart wasn't random. Someone was orchestrating this. Someone who knew him, who knew what he'd done, who wanted him to suffer. His phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. You sold for women. You destroyed for lives. Now it's your turn to lose everything. And Daniel? I'm just getting started. Attached was a photograph. Daniel enlarged it with trembling fingers. It was Maya. Alive. Beautiful. Standing in front of what looked like a mansion, wearing an expensive dress, her arm around a tall Korean man in a black suit who radiated danger. She was alive. She was wealthy. She was powerful. And she was coming for him. Daniel's phone slipped from his hands as his world tilted completely off its axis. The woman he'd sold for £200,000 wasn't just alive. She'd become something far more terrifying than he'd ever imagined. A survivor with resources, with connections, with nothing left to lose and everything to gain. Maya Richards had been a victim, but whoever this woman was now, she was something else entirely. She was his reckoning. The next morning, Daniel received an email from an encrypted account. Subject, we need to talk. Message, meet me. Tonight, 8 p.m. Your old address, the one you shared with Maya. Come alone. Don't bring police, or the evidence I have on you goes public immediately. This is your only chance to make this right. Daniel stared at the email with shaking hands. His old address. The apartment he'd shared with Maya before. Before everything. This had to be a trap. But what choice did he have? His life was already destroyed. The police were building a case. Emma's lawyers were circling. The loan sharks were threatening violence. And now this mystery person, Maya, had evidence that could make everything worse. Maybe he could reason with whoever this was. Explain. Apologize. Offer to pay them back somehow. He didn't believe it himself, but desperation makes people cling to impossible hopes. At 7:30 p.m., Daniel took the tube to his old neighborhood. The streets felt haunted, every corner holding memories of a life that seemed like it belonged to someone else. He'd been happy here once, or thought he was. The apartment building looked the same. He still had his old key. He'd never returned it after moving out. His hands trembled as he unlocked the door. The apartment was dark except for a single lamp in the living room, casting long shadows across the familiar space. For a disorienting moment, it was like stepping back in time. The same furniture, the same arrangement, and sitting on the couch, exactly where Madame Seoul had sat that terrible night, was Maya Richards. But not the Maya he remembered. This Maya wore a designer dress that probably cost more than his former monthly salary. Diamond earrings caught the light. Her natural curly hair was styled elegantly. She sat with perfect posture, legs crossed, hands folded in her lap, radiating a quiet power that made the room feel smaller. And standing in the shadows behind her was the Korean man from the photograph. Tall, broad-shouldered, dangerous. His dark eyes watched Daniel like a predator deciding when to strike. Daniel's legs nearly gave out. Maya, he whispered. You're alive. Surprised. Maya's voice was calm, almost conversational. Did you think I died in that club? Or did you just not care what happened to me after you collected your money? Maya, Daniel took a step forward. The Korean man moved slightly, a subtle shift that made it clear Daniel shouldn't come any closer. Sit down, Daniel, Maya instructed, gesturing to the chair across from her. The same chair he used to sit in when they lived here together. We have a lot to discuss. Daniel sat, his mind racing. I can explain. Explain what? Maya interrupted, her voice still eerily calm. Explain how you sold me to human traffickers for 200,000 pounds? Explain how you watched them drag me away screaming your name? Explain how you walked into our bedroom and went to sleep while I was being beaten and shipped to another country. Each word landed like a physical blow. Daniel opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Let me tell you a story, Maya continued, leaning back slightly. A woman named Sarah Chin. You dated her in 2019. Sold her for 180,000 pounds. She escaped from the trafficking ring, but the trauma destroyed her. She killed herself 6 months later. Her parents still don't know what really happened to their daughter. Daniel's face went white. Rebecca Walsh, Maya continued relentlessly. 2020. You sold her for 190,000 pounds. She's still missing. Her sister hired private investigators for 2 years before giving up hope. I didn't. Olivia Martinez, Maya spoke over him. 2021. You sold her for 195,000 pounds. She escaped, but she's been living in hiding ever since, too traumatized and afraid to come forward. Until now. Maya pulled out a tablet, turning it to face him. On the screen were photographs, documents, bank records, irrefutable evidence of every woman, every transaction, every crime. And then there's me, Maya said softly. Maya Richards, 2024. 200,000 pounds. But I didn't die, Daniel. I survived. And I became something you never expected. She gestured to the Korean man behind her. This is Kang Ji-hoon, my husband, and one of the most powerful men in Korea. Ji-hoon stepped forward slightly, his presence filling the room. Daniel shrank back in his chair. When I found out you were doing it again, Maya continued. When I saw you were targeting Emma Parker, I realized something. You're not just a monster. You're a serial predator. And if I didn't stop you, Emma would be next. And after Emma, there'd be another woman. And another. That's not. I wasn't going to, Daniel stammered. Don't lie, Maya said sharply. Not anymore. You accessed Emma's trust fund illegally. You were in £340,000 of debt. You needed her money. And when that ran out, you would have sold her too, wouldn't you? Daniel's silence was answer enough. So I made a choice, Maya said. I could let my husband make you disappear. One phone call and you'd never be seen again. No body, no evidence. Just gone. Daniel's breath came in short, panicked gasps. But that felt too easy, Maya continued. Death is quick. You wouldn't feel what you put us through. So instead, I decided to take everything from you the way you took everything from us. It was you, Daniel breathed, realization dawning. The investment, the investigation, the packages, all of it. You did this. Yes, Maya confirmed simply. I saved Emma from you. I trapped you with your own greed. I exposed your crimes to your employer. I orchestrated your systematic destruction. Every single thing that's happened to you in the past month, that was me. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. Rage and desperation warred on his face. You ruined my life. No, Maya said, her voice like ice. You ruined your own life when you decided women were commodities to be sold. I just made sure you finally faced consequences. I had no choice, Daniel shouted, standing up. I was in debt. People were threatening me. I had to. There's always a choice. Maya cut him off. You could have declared bankruptcy, asked family for help, cut back your lifestyle, gone to the police about the loan sharks. But instead, you chose to sell human beings. You chose to destroy lives to save your own comfort. You don't understand the pressure I was under. I understand perfectly, Maya said, standing now too. They faced each other across the coffee table, the same space where they'd once shared breakfast and planned their future. I understand what it's like to be desperate and powerless. Because you made me that way. You put me in a situation where I had no choices, no control, no hope. So yes, Daniel, I understand pressure. I understand fear. I understand having everything taken from you. She took a step closer. Jihoon tensed but didn't move. This was Maya's moment. The difference between us, Maya said quietly, is that when I was powerless, I fought to survive. When you were powerless, you destroyed others. That's who you are. A coward who preys on people who trust him. What do you want from me? Daniel asked, his voice breaking. You've already taken everything. My job, my money, my reputation. What more can you possibly want? I want you to face justice, Maya replied. Real justice. Legal consequences. Prison time. I want you on record as a trafficker, a predator, a criminal. I want every woman who comes after Emma to be able to Google your name and see exactly what you are. She pulled out a folder and tossed it onto the coffee table. This contains evidence of your crimes. Embezzlement, fraud, identity theft, facilitating human trafficking, and testimonies from Olivia Martinez and Emma Parker, both willing to testify against you. Daniel stared at the folder like it was a bomb. You have two choices, Maya said. Choice 1, you turn yourself in. You cooperate with police. You testify against the trafficking networks you worked with. You plead guilty, take responsibility, and serve your time. If you do that, I'll make sure you're protected in prison. My husband has connections that can keep the loan sharks from reaching you inside. And choice 2? Daniel asked, though he looked like he didn't want to know. Choice 2. Jihoon spoke for the first time, his voice deep and terrifying. You run, and my people will find you. And when they do, you'll wish you'd chosen option 1. Daniel looked between them, trapped and desperate. And then he did something Maya wasn't expecting. He lunged at her. It happened fast, Daniel launching himself across the coffee table, hands reaching for Maya's throat, rage and panic twisting his features into something monstrous. But Maya was faster. 6 months of self-defense training with Ji-hoon's security team had prepared her for exactly this. She sidestepped smoothly, grabbed Daniel's extended arm, and used his own momentum to flip him onto his back on the hardwood floor. The impact knocked the wind out of him. Before he could recover, Maya had her knee on his chest and her phone dialing. "You just assaulted me," she said calmly, not even breathing hard. "That's assault. That's another charge." Ji-hoon had moved to intervene, but stopped when he saw Maya had it handled. Pride flickered across his usually cold features. Daniel lay on the floor, gasping, defeated. "I hate you," he choked out. "I wish I'd never met you." "The feeling is mutual," Maya replied. "But here's the difference, Daniel. You wish you'd never met me because I held you accountable. I wish I'd never met you because you're a monster. We are not the same." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. "I called the police before you arrived," Maya said, standing and brushing off her dress. "They've been waiting outside for my signal. When you attacked me, that was their cue." Daniel's face crumpled. "You planned this. All of it. Every single step," Maya confirmed. "From the moment I saw your photograph in that magazine." The apartment door burst open. Police officers flooded in, and Emma Parker walked in behind them. No longer Daniel's victim, but his accuser. "That's him," Emma said, pointing at Daniel still sprawled on the floor. "That's the man who stole from me." Behind Emma came another woman. Dark-haired, haunted eyes, but standing tall. Olivia Martinez. "And that's the man who sold me," Olivia added, her voice shaking but determined. The police pulled Daniel to his feet, handcuffing him as they read him his rights. He looked at Maya one last time, and she saw it all on his face. Disbelief, hatred, and finally, the crushing weight of consequence. "How?" he whispered. "How did you become this?" Maya tilted her head, considering. "You taught me," she said simply. "When you sold me, you taught me that the world is cruel and people can't be trusted. But Ji-hoon taught me something else. That survival isn't enough. That strength comes from protecting others, not just yourself. That the best revenge isn't destruction. It's justice." The police began walking Daniel toward the door. He struggled weakly. "I'm sorry," he said, the words sounding hollow. "Maya, I'm sorry." "No, you're not," Maya replied. "You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference." As the police took him away, Emma approached Maya, tears in her eyes. "Thank you. If you hadn't warned me, I would have—" "You would have survived," Maya interrupted gently, pulling Emma into a hug. "Just like I did. Just like Olivia did. We're stronger than he ever was." Olivia joined the embrace, and for a moment, 3 women who'd been broken by the same man stood together, supporting each other, proving that survivors don't just endure, they rise. Ji-hoon watched from across the room, and when Maya glanced at him, he gave her a small nod, proud, impressed, in love with the warrior his wife had become. 6 months later, Maya sat in the Old Bailey courthouse, hands folded in her lap, as the judge delivered Daniel Crawford's sentence. On the charges of embezzlement, fraud, identity theft, and facilitation of human trafficking, I hereby sentence you to 18 years in prison, with possibility of parole after 12 years. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Daniel stood motionless at the defendant's table, his expensive suit replaced with prison clothes, his confident posture replaced with the hunched shoulders of a broken man. Maya felt Ji-hoon's hand find hers, squeezing gently. On her other side sat Emma, who exhaled shakily. Behind them sat Olivia, who'd flown in from Scotland specifically for this moment. And in the back row sat Sarah Chen's parents, finally getting answers about what happened to their daughter. Additionally, the judge continued, "You will be required to pay restitution to your victims and will be listed on the National Sex Offender and Trafficking Registry upon release." 18 years. It wasn't enough to erase the trauma, the lives destroyed, the women who would never fully heal. But it was something. It was accountability. It was justice. As the bailiffs led Daniel away, he looked back one last time. His eyes found Maya's across the courtroom, and she met his gaze steadily, unflinching. She didn't smile, didn't gloat, just looked at him with the calm certainty of someone who'd faced her monster and won. Then she turned away, already focusing on what came next, because Daniel Crawford was her past, and she refused to give him any more of her future. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Emma had decided to go public with her story, and Olivia had joined her. Together, they'd become voices for victims of financial abuse and trafficking. "How do you feel about the verdict?" a reporter shouted. Emma stepped up to the microphone, Maya standing supportively beside her. "I feel like justice was served, not just for me, but for every woman Daniel Crawford victimized. And I hope our story encourages other victims to come forward, to speak up, to know that they're not alone. Do you have a message for other women in similar situations?" another reporter asked. Maya leaned toward the microphone. "Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And know that surviving isn't enough. You deserve to thrive. You deserve justice. And you deserve people who will fight alongside you to get it." Olivia added, "We're starting a foundation, the Second Chances Foundation, to help trafficking survivors with legal aid, therapy, job training, and safe housing. Because surviving is just the first step. Healing is the journey." The reporters continued shouting questions, but Ji-hoon gently guided Maya away from the crowd, his hand protective on the small of her back. In the car, finally alone, Maya let out a long breath she felt like she'd been holding for months. "How do you feel?" Ji-hoon asked, the question intimate in the quiet space. "Lighter," Maya admitted. "Like I can finally breathe again. Is that strange?" "No," Ji-hoon said, bringing her hand to his lips and kissing her knuckles. "It's closure. It's freedom. I thought I'd feel more satisfied," Maya confessed. "I thought when he was sentenced I'd feel victorious. But I just feel tired and ready to move on." "That's healthy," Ji-hoon replied. "Revenge would have made you feel empty. Justice makes you feel complete. There's a difference." Maya leaned her head against his shoulder. "When did you become so wise?" "When I married a woman who taught me that strength isn't just about power. It's about knowing when to fight and when to let go." They flew back to Seoul the next day. But before they left London, Maya did one more thing. She visited Daniel in prison. He was brought to the visitation room in shackles, looking 10 years older than the last time she'd seen him. The confidence was gone, replaced by hollow defeat. They sat across from each other, thick glass between them, phones connecting their voices. "Why did you come?" Daniel asked, his voice hoarse. "Closure," Maya replied simply. "For me, not for you." Daniel laughed bitterly. "Did you get what you wanted? Seeing me locked up?" "I wanted you to face consequences for your actions," Maya said. "And you did. That's not about what I wanted. It's about what was right." "Right?" Daniel spat. "You destroyed my life because it was right?" "No," Maya corrected firmly. "You destroyed your own life. I just made sure you couldn't destroy anyone else's. There's a difference, Daniel, though I don't expect you to see it." She leaned forward slightly. "I came here to tell you something. I forgive you." Daniel's eyes widened in shock. "Not because you deserve it," Maya continued. "Not because you've earned it. Not even because you've apologized. Your apology was empty, and we both know it. I forgive you because I refuse to carry the weight of what you did anymore. I refuse to let you live rent-free in my head. I forgive you so I can be free of you completely." "That's not forgiveness," Daniel said. "That's just moving on." "Maybe," Maya agreed, "but it's enough for me. You took months of my life, Daniel. You took my trust, my sense of safety, my ability to believe in people. But you don't get to take my future. You don't get to take my happiness. I won't let you." She stood up, preparing to leave. "Maya," Daniel called out, "do you ever think about what we had? Before everything?" Maya paused, considering. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But then I remember what we had was built on your lies. You never loved me. You saw an opportunity. And that's sad for you, Daniel, because you'll never know what real love feels like. Real partnership. Real trust. And you have that now? He asked, something bitter in his voice. With him? Yes, Maya said simply. I do. Ji-hoon sees me as an equal. He trusts my strength. He doesn't try to control or diminish me. He lifts me up. That's what love looks like. What we had wasn't love, it was transaction. And I deserve better. She picked up her purse, ready to walk away forever. I hope you find peace, Daniel, she said finally. I hope you use these years to actually think about what you did and become better. But whether you do or don't, I'm done. You're a chapter I'm closing. Goodbye. She hung up the phone and walked out without looking back. 3 months later, the Second Chances Foundation officially launched in both London and Seoul. Maya split her time between the two cities, building programs, hiring staff, and personally mentoring survivors. Emma ran the London branch, her finance background making her perfect for managing budgets and fundraising. She transformed her pain into purpose, becoming a fierce advocate for financial literacy and abuse prevention. Olivia managed the Seoul branch, her experience as a survivor giving her unique insight into what others needed. She'd come out of hiding, ready to use her voice to help others find theirs. The foundation offered free legal services, therapy, job training, temporary housing, and a support network. In its first 3 months, they helped 47 women escape abusive situations and start new lives. One evening, Maya returned to the Seoul mansion to find Ji-hoon waiting on their balcony, wine glasses and a small gift box on the table between 2 chairs. What's this? Maya asked, settling into her chair and accepting the wine. A gift, Ji-hoon said. Open it. Inside the box was a delicate necklace, a phoenix rising from flames, crafted in gold and set with diamonds. Ji-hoon, it's beautiful, Maya breathed. You rose from the ashes, he said simply. You were broken, and you became stronger than ever. You're my phoenix. Maya's eyes filled with tears as he fastened the necklace around her neck. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Yes, you could have, Ji-hoon replied. But you didn't have to. That's what partnership means. Maya turned in her chair to face him fully. 6 months ago, all I wanted was revenge. To make Daniel suffer the way he made me suffer. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being about him and started being about all the women he'd hurt. About stopping him from hurting anyone else. About turning something horrible into something meaningful. That's because you have a good heart, Ji-hoon said. Revenge was never going to satisfy you. Justice did. Purpose did. Do you ever regret it? Maya asked suddenly. That night in the club? If I hadn't fallen into you, if we hadn't kissed, your life would have been so much simpler. Ji-hoon laughed, the sound warm and genuine. Something that still surprised her every time. Maya, before you, my life was empty. I had power, money, respect. But I didn't have meaning. I didn't have love. I didn't have someone who challenged me, inspired me, made me want to be better. He took her hands in his. You crashed into my life, literally, and changed everything. You made me feel things I didn't think I was capable of feeling. You taught me that strength isn't just about control. That vulnerability isn't weakness. That loving someone doesn't make you soft. It makes you stronger because you have something worth fighting for. I love you, Maya said. The words simple but weighted with everything they'd been through together. I love you, Ji-hoon replied. My queen, my phoenix, my partner. They kissed as Seoul's lights twinkled below them. 2 people who'd been broken by their pasts finding wholeness in each other's present. 1 year later, Maya stood on a stage at a conference for trafficking survivors, looking out at hundreds of faces. Some hopeful, some haunted, all brave. My name is Maya Kong, she began, her voice steady and strong. And I'm a survivor of human trafficking. She told her story, the betrayal, the kidnapping, the nightmare, and the long road to recovery. She talked about the shame, the PTSD, the days she wanted to give up. But she also talked about the moment she decided to fight back. About Emma and Olivia and all the other women who'd supported each other. About justice and healing and the foundation they'd built together. Being a victim is something that happened to me, Maya said. But being a survivor is who I chose to become. And helping others survive and thrive? That's my purpose. The applause was thunderous. Women stood, many crying, all inspired. After the speech, a young woman approached Maya shyly. She looked about 23, with frightened eyes and trembling hands. Ms. Kong? My name is Sophie, and I think my boyfriend might be trying to do what yours did. The money questions, the debt, the way he's been acting. I saw your interview and I don't know what to do. Maya took Sophie's hands in hers, looking into her eyes with compassion and strength. You do know what to do, Maya said gently. You trust your instincts. You protect yourself. You reach out for help. And you know what? You're going to be okay. Because you're not alone. She handed Sophie a card for the foundation. Call this number tomorrow. We'll help you. We'll protect you. We'll make sure you don't become another statistic. Sophie nodded, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. Thank you for surviving, for speaking up, for showing us that there's life after trauma. As Sophie walked away, Emma appeared at Maya's side. Another one saved. Another one, Maya agreed. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't survived? Emma asked quietly. If things had gone differently that night in the club? Maya thought about it. The accidental kiss. Ji-hoon's offer. The choice to sign the contract. Every moment that had led her here. I don't think about the what-ifs anymore, Maya said. I think about the what-nows. What now that I'm strong? What now that I have a voice? What now that I can help others? She looked around the conference hall, at all the survivors supporting each other, building community, refusing to be defined by the worst things that had happened to them. Daniel tried to destroy me, Maya continued. He thought selling me would solve his problems and I'd just disappear. But instead I survived. I thrived. I became someone who could protect others from people like him. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all. Not that he's suffering, but that his attempt to destroy me led to me saving others. Emma smiled. From victim to victor. From victim to survivor to advocate, Maya corrected. The journey doesn't end with victory. It continues with purpose. 5 years after Daniel's sentencing, Maya and Ji-hoon stood in the grand ballroom of their Seoul home, celebrating the 5th anniversary of the Second Chances Foundation. The organization now operated in 6 countries, had helped over 2,000 women, and had successfully lobbied for stronger anti-trafficking laws in 3 nations. Emma was engaged to a kind lawyer who supported her advocacy work. Olivia had written a best-selling memoir about her experience. Sarah Chen's parents had established a scholarship in their daughter's name, funded by the foundation. And Daniel? He was 3 years into his sentence, participating in therapy programs, teaching literacy classes to other inmates, slowly, very slowly, becoming someone who took responsibility for his actions. He'd never get out early. He'd never fully atone for what he'd done. But he was at least trying to be better. Maya rarely thought about him anymore. He was a footnote in her story, not the title. Speech time, Ji-hoon whispered, squeezing her hand. Maya took the microphone, looking out at the crowd of donors, survivors, advocates, and supporters. 5 years ago, I was at my lowest point, she began. Betrayed by someone I loved. Sold like property. Traumatized and terrified. I could have let that destroy me. Part of me wanted to. She paused, finding Ji-hoon's eyes in the crowd. He smiled and she drew strength from it. But I made a choice. I chose to survive. Then I chose to heal. Then I chose to help others do the same. And today, I'm standing here not as a victim, but as someone who turned her worst nightmare into her greatest purpose. She raised her glass. To all the survivors in this room, you are not defined by what was done to you. You're defined by what you choose to do next. To healing, to justice, to second chances. To all of us. To all of us. The room echoed. As the celebration continued, Maya stepped out onto the balcony, needing a moment of quiet. Ji-hoon joined her, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. Happy? He murmured against her hair. So happy, Maya replied, leaning back against his chest. Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life. Believe it, Jihoon said. You earned every bit of it. Maya looked out over Seoul's glittering skyline, thinking about the terrified woman who'd arrived here 5 years ago, thinking about everything she'd survived and overcome. You know what's funny? She said. Daniel thought selling me would solve his problems. Instead, it led me to you, to this life, to this purpose. He tried to break me, and instead, I became unbreakable. Karma, Jihoon agreed. No, Maya corrected softly. Not karma. Choice. I chose to rise. I chose to fight. I chose to turn pain into power. That wasn't fate. That was me deciding what my story would be. She turned in his arms to face him. Thank you for catching me that night, for giving me a chance, for seeing me as more than just a victim who needed saving. Thank you for crashing into my life, Jihoon replied, for teaching me how to love, for making me better. They kissed as the soul night embraced them, two souls who'd found each other in the darkest circumstances and built something beautiful from the ashes. Maya Richards had been sold for £200,000. But Maya Kong was priceless. And that made all the difference. And that's how Maya didn't just get revenge. She got justice, healing, and purpose. Daniel tried to destroy her, but she rose from the ashes stronger than ever and built something that will help thousands of women for years to come. If this story touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe to Soul Tales for more empowering stories about strong women, second chances, and love that heals. Drop a comment telling me, what was your favorite moment in Maya's revenge? Would you have done anything differently? And do you believe in forgiveness or just moving on? Remember, you are not defined by the worst thing that ever happened to you. You're defined by how you choose to rise from it. Until next time, keep believing in your strength, your resilience, and your power to transform pain into purpose.